I knew something was off the second I saw the cars. Not one, not two. Four strange vehicles packed into the gravel drive like a used car lot. I'd just driven 2 hours straight from Charlotte after a brutal week at the dealership. All I wanted was some silence, a cold beer, and maybe a night of sleep without the sound of slamming trunks or just browsing every 5 minutes. Instead, I pulled up to chaos. I killed the engine and just sat there for a second, staring at the cabin I bought with every dime I had. My place, my one escape from everything. But there were voices. A lot of them. Laughter, music, definitely too many people. I stepped out and followed the noise around the side of the house, and froze. There was a white tent staked right into my backyard. Long folding tables with white linens, floral centerpieces, and some teenage kid in a headset, unspooling cables across my grass. A wooden archway sat dead center in front of the lake. Someone was hauling crates of wine onto the deck I built with my own hands. Ashley was in the middle of it all, barking orders with a clipboard, wearing one of those fake smiles that always made me want to hit something. She spun around to some guy struggling with a box of glassware and shouted, "Those go on the drinks table, not the guest table. Do people even listen? Quick note, before we go any further, share which city or country you're watching from." She hadn't even noticed me yet, but I couldn't move. It felt like watching a stranger's wedding set up on a movie set. Except it was my backyard, my house, and no one had told me a damn thing. Then I heard his voice behind me. "Dude, glad you're here. We're gonna need help with the lighting rig." I turned, and there he was, my little brother Nolan, smiling like nothing was weird about this. He jogged over, sweat on his forehead, like he'd been at it all morning. "What the hell is this?" I asked, my voice low but already boiling. He looked around like he'd forgotten what planet we were on. "Oh, yeah, it's coming together, right? Ceremony Saturday, rehearsal dinner tomorrow. Ashley wanted it to feel like a destination spot. You know, classy but relaxed." I blinked. "You didn't think to ask?" He scratched the back of his neck. "It was gonna be a surprise, but we figured you'd be cool with it." I stared at him. "You figured wrong." I walked straight back to my truck, climbed in, and slammed the door. My hands were shaking, and I hadn't even made it inside the house yet. Ashley jogged after me, heels clicking across the gravel like I owed her something. "Wait, don't be weird about it. You'll love this part." I didn't move fast enough. She grabbed my arm and spun me toward the tent. "Trish!" she yelled over her shoulder. "This is Nolan's brother, the owner of the venue." A woman in a crisp blue blazer and headset turned and beamed like I was Santa Claus. "Oh, wow! The generous older brother himself." She clutched my hand between hers like she'd known me since birth. "I can't tell you how much we appreciate you donating such a perfect location. It's like a little slice of heaven back here." I yanked my hand free. "Yeah, real generous of me." She either didn't hear the tone or didn't care. Ashley handed me a thick ivory invitation with a glittery ribbon tied around it. I untied it, still in a fog, and opened the card. "The wedding of Nolan, James Martin, and Ashley Renee Brooks, Saturday, September 14th, at the Martin Lake House, 879 Balsam Ridge Drive." They printed the address, my exact address. I didn't say a word. I just stared at it, gripping the invitation so hard the edges curled. All I could see was 5 years ago, sweating through 12-hour shifts at the body shop in Concord, patching busted-up trucks, welding through migraines, living off gas station sandwiches, driving beaters with busted AC to stash every penny. My realtor said, "You sure?" "It's rough around the edges," I said. "I don't care. It's mine." The cabin had good bones. I fixed it up with my own hands. Ripped out rotting cabinets, rebuilt the deck, replaced every single lock. I bled for that place. And I remembered what my mom said the first time she saw it. "A little selfish, don't you think? You could have helped your brother with College Nolan's take. Perfect for weekend parties, dude." Seriously. Great find. I thought he meant it as a compliment. Now I wasn't so sure. It started slow. Mom bringing her garden club ladies for a retreat. Nolan crashing with college friends. Then it turned into full weekends of, "Oh, I told Greg he could stay," or "Hope it's cool if we bring the dog." They used it like a community center. I was the only one mowing the grass, paying for propane, fixing broken doorknobs. And now, without asking, they'd planned a wedding for 150 guests. Like it was theirs. Ashley was still talking to the planner, showing her the layout. Ceremony by the water, cocktail hour on the deck, then the reception tent. Obviously, the planner smiled at me again. And don't worry, we'll leave everything as we found it. You've been so wonderful about this. I looked at her like she'd just slapped me. I didn't even know about this until 5 minutes ago. Her smile cracked just a little. She looked at Ashley. Ashley shrugged like I was being dramatic. We wanted it to be a surprise. Nolan said you'd be chill. It's family, right? Family. That word again. Used like duct tape to cover every boundary they'd ever stepped over. I didn't say anything. I didn't throw the invitation, didn't raise my voice. I just turned around and walked toward the truck again. Ashley called after me, "Don't be a jerk about it. It's literally one weekend. 150 people. My name on the tax bill. My cabin on the invite." I flipped the ignition and backed out fast. Let them set up their fairy tale. I had other plans. By the time I hit I-85, I was already running through every moment in my head, one after another, like a highlight reel of disrespect. Back at my apartment, I didn't turn on the lights, just tossed my keys onto the counter, sat on the couch, and opened my phone. Fine. If they were going to lie to my face, I was going to dig. I started scrolling through old texts. Nothing recent from Nolan. No mention of the wedding, no group invites. Then I remembered something from Christmas, Mom talking about the family chat. I wasn't in it, never had been. I texted my cousin Lexi. "You in a family group chat about the wedding?" She replied in 2 seconds. "Yeah, been going on forever." "Why?" She sent a screenshot. There it was. A whole scroll's worth of cake samples, seating charts, dress try-ons, all happening at my cabin, with my name tossed around like a brand label, and there, in black and white, Nolan posting a photo from the deck. Him and Ashley holding champagne glasses, lake behind them, fairy lights strung up across the railing. Caption, "Generous brother equals dream venue." I threw my phone down, hard. It bounced off the couch and hit the floor. I picked it back up. A new text came in, from Mom. "He'll be fine with it. He doesn't even use the cabin much." My chest went cold. I scrolled up. She'd sent it to the group chat. Not to me. She wasn't even hiding it. Then, finally, Nolan texted me directly. "Wasn't my idea to surprise you?" I said we should ask. I stared at the screen for a while. No apology, no sorry. Just passing the blame, like always. I didn't answer him. Instead, I opened my laptop, started Googling North Carolina private property wedding laws, short-term rentals liability, noise ordinance, guest capacity, alcohol permits. That's when something shifted. I wasn't shaking anymore. I wasn't even mad in the same way. I started taking notes. Max occupancy, 50. Required permits. Yes, for anything over 25 people. Commercial alcohol license. Needed if serving to guests on private property. Fire marshal code. 1 bathroom per 50 attendees. They had 1 bathroom. I clicked on the county zoning page and scrolled through the event regulations. They were violating everything. And if something went wrong, someone fell off the deck, got drunk and drove, tripped over a tent stake, it all came back to me. My name, my insurance, my taxes. Hell no. I opened a new browser tab and typed in luxury fishing retreats near Martin Lake. 2 listings popped up, both high-end, both booked out months in advance. One of them had a contact form for cabin owners, looking to add exclusive private homes to our fall tour package. I stared at that sentence for a long second. A different idea started forming. Not petty, not emotional, just business, clean, legal, and final. I sat back, cracked my neck, and smiled. Just a little. Let's see how generous they think I am when there's a contract involved. The next morning, I left work at 2 and drove straight to the cabin with a crowbar, a box of smart locks, and a cooler full of iced coffee. Nobody was there, probably off doing flower arrangements or tasting mini quiches. Perfect. I changed every lock, front, back, side door, even the shed. Ripped the old ones off like pulling teeth. Installed motion cameras on the porch and the driveway, hooked them straight to my phone. Then I added a new padlock to the dock gate and posted a laminated sign that said, "Private property, no trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted." And I meant it. By 4:30, I was back in my truck. I opened my phone and typed the shortest group email of my life. Subject line, cabin use. Access revoked. No one uses my property without permission. No exceptions. Hit send. Then I waited. Didn't take long. First one was Mom. This is ridiculous. Don't do this to your brother. Then Dad. Call your mother? Then Nolan, of course. You're ruining everything. What the hell are you trying to prove? I didn't respond. I just opened my notes app and checked off the last bullet. Email sent. Locks changed. Cameras live. On the way back to my apartment, I pulled over in a McDonald's parking lot and called the fishing tour company. A woman named Denise picked up. I told her I had a fully furnished lake cabin, waterfront, sleep 6, private dock, no HOA. She sounded like she'd won the damn lottery. We've been looking for something exactly like that on Balsam Ridge, she said. Any flexibility for exclusive use in the fall? Full access, I said, as long as it's on paper. She emailed the contract within the hour. I read every line, twice. No weddings, no private events, no third-party guests without owner approval. I signed it right there at my kitchen table. Outside, rain started tapping against the window, slow and steady. I just sat there, watching the streaks slide down the glass. Not smiling, not angry, just quiet. The cabin wasn't theirs anymore. It never was. Next day, I was behind the front desk at the dealership, halfway through a parts order for a '98 Ram, when I caught a blur of red and gold out of the corner of my eye. I looked up. There she was, my mother, full makeup, red lipstick, pearl earrings. Hair done like she was heading to a damn charity auction. And she walked in like she owned the place. Mom, I started, but she cut me off with a stiff little smile. We need to talk. Now, she didn't lower her voice. Didn't care that customers were 5 feet away or that I was at work. You've embarrassed your brother, she said. He's devastated. This was supposed to be the happiest weekend of his life. I stood there, arms crossed, not saying a word. She waited for me to crack. Let's meet somewhere after my shift, I said finally. Denny's. Across the highway. She sighed like I'd offered her gas station sushi. Fine. Then she turned and left without another word. I spent the rest of the day counting bolts and receipts, barely hearing what anyone said to me. 8 o'clock rolled around, and I pulled into Denny's, already regretting it. But the moment I walked in, I knew. It wasn't just her. My dad sat in the booth, arms folded. Nolan next to him, looking like a kicked dog. And across from them, Aunt Cheryl, sipping coffee like she hadn't planned this whole ambush with military precision. I slid into the booth, didn't even say hi. Mom started in right away. You've made this so much harder than it needed to be. We all thought you'd support your brother. I held up a hand. No, let's skip the speeches. Dad leaned in. After everything we've done for you. The holidays, the help with school. You lent me money for community college and made me pay it back with interest. Aunt Cheryl jumped in. Your grandfather built this family on unity. He'd be ashamed of this fighting. I looked at Nolan. He still hadn't said a word, just stared at his hands like the menu was going to bail him out. So I said it straight. Name one time you asked permission to use my cabin. He looked up, blinked, then looked at Mom. I leaned forward. Just one, any time, even once Mom huffed. We didn't think we needed to ask. You're so distant lately. You made a group chat without me, planned a whole wedding on my property, printed my address on the invite like it was a damn Marriott. That's not distance. That's erasure. Dad clenched his jaw. Cheryl whispered something to Mom. I stood up, dropped a 20 on the table. This conversation's over. You're not victims. You're just not used to hearing the word no. Then I walked out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't look back. Let them sit in it. I didn't go home after Denny's. I went to FedEx, printed the photos. Every single one. I'd been taking them for over a year. Never really knew why. Guess deep down, I saw this coming. Next night, I invited them to my place. Same 4. Mom, Dad, Nolan, Aunt Cheryl. I didn't offer drinks, didn't tell them to sit. I just dropped the manila folder on the coffee table and stood back. Go ahead, I said. Take a look. Nolan opened it. First photo was a deep gouge in the hardwood near the kitchen island. Looked like someone dragged a cooler across the floor. Next was the porch railing. cracked clean through. Still had the duct tape someone slapped on it like I wouldn't notice. Then trash bags. 3 of them. Left in the garage for so long they'd leaked some mystery liquid that stained the concrete. Mom blinked. "What is this supposed to prove?" I pointed. "Every photo has a date and time, all taken after one of your casual visits." Dad looked down at the next photo, but didn't say a word. I pulled out the stack of receipts and laid them next to the pictures. "That's the wood filler I used to patch the floor. The replacement railing. The dump fees for your rotting trash. All paid by me. Not one person ever offered to reimburse me." Nolan tried to speak, but I cut him off. "And before you say you didn't know, check your phone. I texted you. Every time. Want me to read them out loud?" His face went red. "I didn't see those." "No, you didn't respond to them." Mom sat back, arms folded. I locked eyes with her. Intent doesn't override responsibility. "I'm not your backup plan." Aunt Cheryl, who hadn't shut up the night before, finally jumped in. "Honestly, this all sounds like you've been holding a grudge for years." I looked straight at her. "No, I'm setting a boundary." "Finally?" She shook her head like I was speaking another language. I stood up. "Here are the terms. No entry without my permission. Ever. All keys returned. 0 exceptions." Silence. Dad scoffed. "You're being petty." "No," I said. "I'm being clear. You can either respect my property or stay the hell off it. But I'm done pretending this is normal." Nolan stood. "So what? I'm just supposed to find a new venue 2 weeks before my wedding." I shrugged. "Should have booked one to begin with." "That's what grown-ups do." Mom stood too. "You used to be such a sweet boy. I don't know what happened to you." I met her stare. "I stopped letting people walk all over me." "That's what happened?" Cheryl muttered something about therapy. Dad grabbed the folder off the table and tossed it back like it was garbage. "No one said thank you. No one apologized. Fine by me." They filed out one by one, like a funeral procession with no casket. Door clicked shut behind them. I locked it. 2 days before the wedding, I parked across the street from the cabin with a thermos of black coffee and my truck's AC running low. I didn't get out. I just sat there, watching. At first it was quiet. Fog still hanging off the lake, breeze kicking up the pine needles. Then the chaos started. First to show was the wedding planner's SUV. She stepped out in flats and a blazer, carrying clipboards like she was landing a plane. Behind her, a U-Haul pulled in, followed by 2 sedans packed full of folding chairs. Ashley showed up next, already shouting instructions before she even closed her car door. She had a megaphone in one hand and a Starbucks in the other. Classy. Then came my dad, sleeves rolled up, carrying a box of champagne flutes. I watched him give someone directions like he was the owner of the damn place. I sipped my coffee and waited. Right on cue, 3 Navy vans rolled up the road. Blue Ridge Fishing Tours, printed across the side in huge white letters. They parked on the gravel like they'd done it 100 times before. 5 staffers stepped out, all in branded polos, and started unloading gear. Signage, folding tables, coolers, tackle display racks. One guy rolled out a banner that said, "Welcome to the Fall Anglers Retreat." The vibe shifted fast. Ashley stopped mid-rant and turned. The planner looked like she'd swallowed a nail. My dad stood frozen at the top of the porch steps, holding a stack of menus. Then the tour manager stepped out of the lead van. Tall guy, clipboard in hand, no-nonsense face. He walked straight toward the planner. I cracked the truck window just enough to hear the edge in his voice. "We have this property booked for the weekend." "Oh, full access, signed contract, paid in full." Ashley stomped across the lawn, face red. "No, you don't. This is a private residence." The guy didn't flinch. "Not today, it's not." He held up the contract and pointed to the signature at the bottom. My name. My signature. People started pulling out phones. One of the caterers called someone. The planner walked away mid-sentence. Ashley yelled at my dad. He yelled back. And me, I just sat there, quiet. Phone buzzed on the console. Unknown number. Then again, Ashley, then Nolan. I let the first 2 go to voicemail. Nolan called a second time. I picked up. "What the hell is going on?" he snapped. "Ashley's freaking out. The tour people say they've got a contract. Is this your doing?" I kept my voice even. "It's not a wedding venue." "You're kidding." Nope, I said. It's my cabin. And it's rented. He went quiet for a second. Dude, you blindsided us. I laughed once. You printed my address on an invitation without asking. Spare me the drama. You didn't have to go this far. You didn't have to trespass, Nolan. I hung up. Across the street, the planner pulled out her phone and made a call, probably looking for a backup venue. Ashley threw her bouquet at the gravel. The tour staff kept unloading, business as usual. One of them waved to me without knowing who I was. I raised my coffee in return and took another sip. Let them feel what it's like to be shut out. Let them sit with it. They moved the wedding to Ashley's uncle's horse farm. No lake, no tent. Just folding chairs on patchy grass and a view of some rusted-out trailers in the distance. I didn't go. Wasn't invited, obviously. A few days later, Nolan texted me. I get it now. Sorry I didn't stand up for you earlier. I stared at the screen for a while, then put the phone down. Didn't respond. That afternoon, I found an envelope slid under my apartment door. No return address. Inside was one cabin key, the original brass one, not a copy. No note, just the key. I knew it was from Mom. Ashley blocked me on everything. Phone, socials, even Venmo. Like I'd stolen something from her. Fine by me. I rented the cabin for the next 2 weekends straight. The fishing tour company brought in 2 groups, both low-key, respectful, no mess, no noise, no drama. But the money wasn't the point. It was the quiet. Back at work, even my coworkers noticed. I wasn't snapping at customers. I showed up early, nailed a sale on a Tacoma to some guy from Hickory, and didn't even break a sweat. Dude, Rob said, you're like, chill now. I just nodded, let him believe whatever. That Sunday, I took a weekend for myself. No calls, no family, no service. Just me, a cooler of beer, and the sound of water slapping the dock. The air was sharp, clean. Not cold, just enough to remind you fall was creeping in. I cast the line, leaned back in the old folding chair, and waited. When the trout finally bit, I stood and reeled it in, slow, like I had all the time in the world. The sun broke through the clouds just as I pulled it from the water. Fat, heavy, thrashing hard. I laughed out loud, not from joy, from relief. I finally did what I should have done years ago, and I didn't regret a damn thing.